Chapter 3. Caught in the Crossfire. I barely slept that night. Adrian's words lingered like a dark cloud in my mind, and no matter how much I tried to shake them off, his presence followed me even in my dreams. I woke up with a jolt, the lingering sensation of his kiss still burning on my lips. I don't belong to him, I reminded myself, clenching my fists under the soft sheets. He doesn't control me. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that Adrian Blackwood didn't need to control me directly. He had other ways to tighten his grip. If what Carter said was true, then this wasn't just a dangerous game. It was a game of power, wealth, and alliances. And I was stuck in the middle, a pawn between two powerful forces. I threw on a robe and padded over to the wide bay window of my bedroom, staring out over the city skyline. The towering buildings, the shimmering lights, all of it felt like a gilded cage. My family's empire was vast, rooted deep in the city's financial arteries. My father had worked his entire life to build it, and now Adrian wanted to use me to claim it for himself. A knock on the door interrupted my thoughts, and I turned as my mother stepped into the room. She was immaculate as always, her blonde hair swept up in a perfect twist, her designer dress tailored to perfection. "Good morning, darling," she said, her tone as cool and crisp as the morning air. "I thought you'd want to know we've received an interesting proposal." I stiffened, the word "a proposal" sending a wave of unease through me. "From who?" Her smile was tight, her eyes gleaming with the excitement that only came from potential power. "Adrian Blackwood." I swallowed, my heart sinking. "What kind of proposal?" My mother walked over to the window, her gaze flicking briefly over the city before she turned to face me. "He's offered a merger. A very advantageous one, I might add. The Blackwood and Sterling empires would become one, and you, my dear, would be the centerpiece of that merger." I stared at her, my stomach twisting into knots. "You mean he wants to marry me?" She smiled as if this were the most natural thing in the world. "Of course, it's a brilliant move. The two most powerful families joining forces. Think of the influence, the reach. Together, we would be untouchable." I shook my head, disbelief flooding through me. "And you're okay with that? You're okay with me being some bargaining chip?" My mother's smile faltered, but only slightly. "It's not like that, Juliet. This is about securing the future. For all of us. I know it may seem overwhelming, but trust me, marrying Adrian will ensure that our family's legacy remains intact. And you'll benefit from it as well. The Blackwoods are—" No. The word came out harsher than I intended, but I didn't care. "I'm not marrying him, Mother. I don't care how much money or power is at stake." Her eyes narrowed, and for the first time, I saw the cold calculation behind her carefully crafted facade. "You don't have a choice, Juliet. This isn't just about you. This is about the family. Your father and I have worked too hard for you to throw it all away on a whim." "A whim!" I snapped, my voice rising. "You're talking about my life, my future. You can't just sell me off to the highest bidder because it suits you." My mother's expression turned icy, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Watch your tone, young lady. You may not realize it now, but this is for your own good. Adrian Blackwood is your future, and you will marry him." She turned on her heel and left the room without another word, leaving me standing there, trembling with anger and disbelief. I had never felt so helpless, so trapped in a situation I couldn't control. My parents had made the decision for me, and Adrian was playing right into their hands. But I wasn't going to let them dictate my life. Not anymore. My phone buzzed on the nightstand, and I glanced at the screen. A text from Carter. "Can we meet? I think I have a way out." I hesitated for a moment, my mind racing. Carter had been clear about Adrian's motives, but now he was offering me a solution. Could I trust him? Could I trust anyone in this world? "Meet me at the park in an hour," I typed back before tossing the phone onto the bed. I needed answers, and if Carter had a plan, I was willing to hear him out. Anything was better than being cornered into a life I didn't want. The park was quiet when I arrived, the crisp October air swirling around me as I made my way to the secluded bench where Carter was waiting. He stood as I approached, his hands shoved into the pockets of his coat, his expression unreadable. "Thanks for coming," he said, his voice low. I crossed my arms, keeping my distance. "What's this plan of yours?" Carter's eyes softened, but there was a flicker of tension in his gaze. "Adrian's made his move, hasn't he?" I nodded, frustration bubbling to the surface. "He's proposed a merger, and my parents are ready to hand me over on a silver platter." Carter exhaled, rubbing a hand over his jaw. "I figured he'd make that play, but I think there's a way to stop him." His gaze met mine, sharp and focused. "We'd beat him at his own game. We make a move before he can lock you into that marriage, but we'll need leverage." Leverage. The word sent a chill down my spine. This was exactly the kind of world Adrian thrived in, using people and information as weapons. And now Carter wanted to play the same game. "What kind of leverage?" I asked, wariness creeping into my voice. Carter hesitated, his jaw tightening before he spoke. "There's something Adrian's hiding, something big. If we can expose it, we'll have the power to make him back off." I narrowed my eyes, my suspicion growing. "And how exactly do you know this?" His expression darkened, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of something like guilt in his eyes. "Because I used to be part of it. Adrian and I. We weren't just rivals. We were in business together once, but I got out before things got ugly." He didn't. My heart raced as the pieces started to fall into place. Whatever Carter had been involved in with Adrian, it was dangerous. And now he wanted me to be a part of it. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Because you deserve a choice," Carter said, his voice rough. "Adrian's not invincible, but he's ruthless. If you want out, I'll help you. But you need to decide if you're willing to fight back." I stared at him, my mind spinning. Trusting Carter meant diving deeper into the darkness that surrounded Adrian, but refusing him meant resigning myself to a future dictated by power and control. It wasn't much of a choice at all. I took a deep breath, the weight of the decision settling on my shoulders. "Okay," I said finally, my voice steady. "I'm in." Carter nodded, his eyes gleaming with something like relief. "Good. We'll need to move fast. Adrian won't wait long to make his next move." As we stood there in the quiet of the park, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had just stepped into something far more dangerous than I realized. Adrian's world was a twisted game of power, and now, with Carter's help, I was about to play my hand. But in this game, there were no guarantees. And if I wasn't careful, I could lose everything.